it was 10 days ago, like our entire Zoom world was very different. 10 days ago, we were an online meeting that would get maybe 10 people, 14 people on a good day. We didn't have any of the settings in place that we have now. There were, you know, it was very casual. Like, it wasn't like we would have one person that would run the host and the queue and everything. You know, like, it's been crazy over the last 10 days because we've had to change a lot of stuff. You know, we started, I guess it was 2 years ago we started, because Shane and I went to an H&I or a PR thing, and we met this guy who was a jailer in Leslie County, Kentucky, and he said he used to have girls like that would come in to do H&I in the facility. And so he said, you know, they don't do that anymore. And well, the truth is there's no NA there anymore. And so we started thinking of like possible solutions that we could come up with to get H&I into this facility. And so we decided, we were like, Shane had been talking with Kelly and Steve, and we knew about virtual meetings, and we were like, okay, well, let's start a virtual meeting. There was also a struggling home group here in Lexington that had like 3 participants. It used to be one of the biggest meetings in Lexington, and the church kicked them out and they moved to a different church. And when that happened, attendance just like really dwindled. So we were like, okay, well, let's do a hybrid Zoom meeting, and we'll help the facility and we'll help the struggling home group. So we started going to the struggling home group as like a hybrid Zoom. And then once that took off, we were approached by Dennis out of New York. So over the last 10 days, we have had like an explosion, because we've just been straight Zoom, and we've had an explosion in things. We've gone from 14 people to like, I think it was like 120 people, to 200 people, to 404 people was our like height. So we have several different people running the Zoom meeting. We have a talking head. We have somebody running the queue and telling people that they need to share. We have, you know, somebody monitoring the chat. We have somebody monitoring the video. You know, basically we've had like all of us running the Zoom meeting over the last week. And, you know, like, it's just, we've come up with a Venmo, because we haven't had and a Cash App, because we haven't previously had a reason to have Seventh Tradition, because the home group members would just donate and pay for it. But now that it's growing so big, we've had to expand our account to accept like 1,000 participants a meeting if we need to, because what's been happening in some of the other smaller Zoom meetings is it'll reach the 100-person limit, and then addicts will get rejected from the meeting, like they'll get kicked out. So we have made it to where we have an account that can accept that many people. We have had basically like a nonstop group conscience happening between some of the members of the home group, just to make sure that we're managing everything okay, that the meeting is going smoothly. Hey, we had this problem. How do we address it? What can we do about it? We've had several new home group members join in the last week. And so we've been including them in that. We have been discussing different ideas for what we're going to do moving forward. You know, do we do breakout rooms? Do we do individual rooms? What do we do? So, you know, I don't know. I mean, that's basically it. The settings that we're using is we mute all now, whereas we used to not do that, because it's really difficult. People don't understand when somebody says, hi, I'm Caitlin, I'm an addict, that they're not supposed to unmute themselves and say, hi, Caitlin, because then it will take 30 to 20 seconds to remute everybody after somebody says hi, or they're like, I'm done sharing, that's all I have. People want to unmute, and then it takes another 30 seconds. So we just do mute all, and we only let the person unmute when they're sharing. We have made it to where the host is the only one who can unmute someone, which is like what this is right now. That works best because then you don't have people accidentally unmuting. You know, we've done a bunch of different things that are very different than what we used to do. So that's the last 10 days in a nutshell.
Yeah, and to let everyone know, when Caitlin's talking about the mute all, if you are a host or a co-host and you hit manage participants and it brings up your screen, you'll see on the bottom left of that white section, mute all. When you click on mute all, it gives you an option to allow people to unmute themselves. You can check that box, or if you don't check it, it means only the host can do that. So what that means is all of a sudden the chairperson has established an atmosphere of recovery immediately so that they're the only one that can be heard. And then you have to figure out a way for your meeting attendees to notify the host so that you know who wants to speak when and how you're going to do all that. So